In the handmade adventure game Harold Halibut, a spaceship full of people fleeing the Cold War crash lands in an alien ocean, where the sunken ship becomes a city that's forever stuck in the 1970s. When I say handmade adventure game, I mean that in a very physical, tangible way. Every set, every character, every floorboard, and every coffee cup has been meticulously handcrafted from wood, clay,
salut les gens, enfin c'est salut personne je suppose pour l'instant, mais...
I'm pleased to introduce the stop-motion adventure, Harold Halibut.
Soyez la bienvenue sur mon premier stream du genre. Comme je vous avais proposé à certains d'entre vous, dès que je regardais une conférence de l'E3, je le retransmettrai en live si ça vous intéressait. Bah voilà, il y en a une là en cours. Je démarre un peu en retard, hein, mais...
Hi, we are Slow Brothers,
nous y voilà.
a tiny interdisciplinary game studio based in Cologne, Germany.
Salut Farrell Gaming. As. Comment vas-tu? Donc dites-moi ce que ça donne le son et puis tout ça, parce que là j'ai fait aucun test, que je démarre ça à l'arrache. Je sais pas si on va faire toute la conférence aussi non plus, parce qu'il va falloir que je prépare à manger moi bientôt. Mais voilà.
Sometimes I do wonder what life would have been like on Earth.
Voilà.
It's been about 10 years since we started game development.
Voilà, je continue à parler en même temps que tout ça parce que je
at that time we were kind of
en train de
frustrated
préparer
about
les
big budgets
annonces.
needed to produce a feature-length film.
Je démarre ça complètement à l'arrache.
Producers being also game lovers, we thought that making a game instead of a film to tell a story might be the more approachable endeavor. We quickly realized that.
Et on a loupé d'ailleurs une conférence hier. Je n'avais pas capté que ça commençait hier. Et il y a eu plein de trucs cool annoncés. Et Shay, salut, bonsoir. Le son est nickel, très bien le son, ok. Vous entendez bien le son du truc, mais vous m'entendez quand même suffisamment.
Our goal has always been to create a accurate recreation
Coucou,
of a stop motion film to create a cinematic feel, and our initial approach was quite a lot of experimentation.
Donc là, en fait, ils ont filmé des
figurines
now,
which is 3D scanning everything by using photogrammetry to create 3D models of the characters that we then animate using motion capturing.
D'accord, donc de base c'est des figurines, mais après c'est quand même de la motion capture 3D.
Which gave us this fluidity and also all the options that we have in modern 3D
games. Le jeu au tout début de la conférence signale, je sais plus quoi, celui-là je l'avais déjà mis dans ma liste de souhaits sur Steam, il m'avait déjà.
So it's even a little bit different than traditional stop motion animation, and we really
ouais, hier il y a eu quoi
d'annoncer. Digital world and
déjà plus.
analog world.
Ah bah il y avait Jurassic World et Evolution 2.
Heard a bunch of people questioning why we put such effort into building the sets and the tiny details. Ultimately, we think that's why the game feels the way it does is because of the sum of its level of detail coming together as like a greater thing.
Je suis pas sûr, mais j'espère que demain on pourra se faire celle de Devolver. Les autres avant, je pense pas parce que je serai occupé. J'espère pour celle de Devolver.
Now, if you're quite ready.
Sure. Ready for what?
I made a breakthrough discovery at the Arboretum last night. You remember the last batch of bloomy rocks?
Oh, the really small ones from the last intake? The ones with the strange shapes and the little holes and...
J'avoue que le résultat est sympa, effectivement j'ai un peu l'impression de regarder un épisode de Robot Chicken, bon, plus sérieux. Mais...
I think they've picked up some influences from outer space as well.
We create a relatable science fiction world instead of having a super distant sci-fi future where things are so different that it might as well be magic.
It may have started with one man, but it took the hearts and minds of many more to make the dream a reality.
Il y a un jeu Evil
That
Dead
dream
qui a été
began at
annoncé.
the height of the Cold War, when the world was on the very brink of annihilation. He conceived of an
Et Elden
archaic
Ring a été
spacefaring
annoncé.
ship. After
qu'on fasse les
200
autres.
years, we finally arrived at our destination, only to find that the promising watery planet contained no habitable landmass.
Ah oui, et ce trailer mystique de Death Stranding, le Director's Cut,
Cold War
fait
seems
référence
like
à Metal Gear de
good
partout.
starting point for the backstory of our game, and it enabled us to have this kind of weird mix of being stuck in the 70s on one hand and not living through the things we all
Pas
know.
qu'un jeu,
in
c'est aussi
our
de bricolage,
present,
bah, un peu comme
but
Papetora du
also
coup.
thinking into the future, the 200 years after that, and creating
Genre de
this kind
processus.
of alternative timeline where things evolved in a different way.
It's just that the professor and I need some sea rocks, I mean, filter rocks from older times that have come from the filters, and I feel like you might have one?
Okay, look and listen here, Longy Long Pants. I shut the store for a
Pas grave,
reason, you
Lucas,
know?
y a pas de
Well,
problème.
we have
Merci.
this overarching
Merci déjà pour toute
storyline
l'aide
in
que t'as
our
apportée.
game with multiple story arcs. Herald is only one part of this bigger story, and we always kind of focus on Herald's
Continuera à en apporter un signe de soutien.
relationships and friendships of Herald.
Harold, good timing. You can explain things to the Major, can't
Moi, je
you?
pense beaucoup de monde ferait.
Come here and explain things.
So,
Bon,
Harry,
ça va, Foxy a
how's life been
relancé.
treating you?
You know, keeping fishy.
What?
You know, keeping busy.
Okay.
Harold.
Is everything okay?
And therefore really concentrated on providing a lot of depth in those characters for players to ultimately explore.
Harold, won't you stay? The jog team won't be the same without you.
Yeah, venga, Harold. You can't leave now. I
Il y a
just
des
got
sacrées
here.
proportions. Hein.
Jog team, jog team, jog team.
Go jog team.
Come on, Harold. Keep up.
Deep breaths, Harold. You're doing great.
Guys, have you got any tips?
Just keep on moving, Harold. You never know when you'll have to slow down. So keep going while you can.
Yeah, that's so good.
Imagine setting off across a vast desert on a rite of passage, with no one to share the long and lonely trip but your trusty hover bike.
Et ça, j'ai
On your
pas
journey to the
suivi s'il
horizon,
parlait.
you will traverse a world of beauty
logiciel.
and mystery, full of spectacular ruins both ancient and futuristic. This is the joy of exploration, the thrill of discovery. And if you listen to the stories of the people and places you encounter, perhaps a chance to learn what you came here to understand. This is Sable.
Ah oui, bah ça c'est le jeu. Ça ressemble grave à une BD créée par Moebius et puis tout ça. Auteur de BD. C'est mythique. Vidéo de gameplay de 13 minutes qu'ils avaient pu avoir ces derniers jours.
Shedworks is us. I'm Greg, this is Daniel, and we started out in my parents' shed.
Mais visuellement, clairement, c'est un cachet. Quoi.
Sable is the main character. She's a young girl who's leaving her.
Pas que tu vois le même genre de jeu que tu vois. Après gameplay, du coup, ça avait l'air un peu. RPG, platformer, je sais pas comment dire. Pour l'instant, c'est le gameplay qui m'a pas forcément accroché que ça.
Home behind and experiencing the world, meeting people, trying things, helping folks in need, and ultimately deciding what do I want to devote my life to.
So much of the people here, the communities here, are defined by their vocation. You know, the desert that they live in is inhospitable, and so they've kind of had to come together and had to form groups around resources. And so Sable kind of goes from place to place, meeting different societies and cultures, built around completely different experiences of the same environment.
Farrell va chercher des tutos sur internet, c'est pour ça que je vais t'apprendre ça. Passe par Streamlabs OBS.
It means that she has to be a sponge, right? She's trying to figure out her place in the world, what she wants to do for the rest of her days. And I think that's what makes the story so fun. It really is about the places that you go, the people that you see, and the experiences that you have that not only shape her gliding, but shape her.
Je pense faut s'y faire pour après se retrouver. Actuellement, on est tellement peu habitués justement. Ah bah tiens, regardez, il y a Tintin derrière et puis tout ça. Truc qu'ils ont dans le fond là.
That was when indie games have really kind of taken off as a creative sort of field. Started to think about it was something that I could make myself.
On voit leurs influences.
I studied architecture, Daniel studied comparative literature, but neither of us had any experience making games before we started making games. We kind of went to the pub one time and had a chat about how because we had none of these industry direct connections to skills or experience, we thought we'd start our own internship, do our own internship.
Je sais pas si c'est leur premier jeu, mais je sais qu'ils ont parlé du fait qu'ils ne savaient pas faire des jeux avant de se mettre à faire des jeux. Ils sont autodidactes.
Years or so later, we're here now, still going. Yeah.
Gros, de ce que j'ai compris, c'est des gens talentueux de différentes industries qui se sont rassemblés pour faire
design decision that we could around that focus. There's no real danger to the player in the game. It is quite relaxing in a way, but that doesn't make it less curious a world to explore, I think.
Voilà, c'est un jeu relaxant d'exploration, il n'y aura pas de combat, trucs comme ça.
And the pace of the game is very laid back.
It was the first game that we designed that was really geared around our skills as well, our backgrounds. We wanted to do something narrative focused, we had a background in comparative literature, we wanted something architecturally focused, and my background in architecture helped with that. So I think that it's come from us in that way makes it quite unique. We draw from a number of references and influences, I suppose. I guess some of the most obvious ones are the visual ones, right? Stuff like Mobius or Tintin, or Studio Ghibli, and those kind of pieces were always influential.
Yeah, it does have that mix of ancient and futuristic to our eyes, right? Who live here, but to the eyes of Sable and to everyone in that world, that is all that they know.
We brought Japanese breakfast onto the project really early on, like before we'd really started it, and so our music had kind of been there from the very beginning. So that's been the music itself has been a really big part of shaping where the direction of the game.
Généralement dans une boîte de jeu, il n'y a pas toujours les mêmes personnes qui y travaillent, non, c'est des personnes qui sont engagées le temps de se prendre. Je suppose que ça dépend de la boîte, quoi. Peut-être qu'il est dit qu'apparemment la plupart des gens qui avaient bossé sur Nier, Gestalt, Nier Replicant premier du nom, se sont retrouvés sur le remake, remaster, version.
In the Gothic fairy tale Lost in Random, the world is divided into 6 shadowy realms, where every citizen's fate is determined by the roll of a cursed die. You play as Even, a young girl who's set out on a quest to save her beloved sister Odd, and with the help of your companion, a magical living die named Dicey, you'll find yourself battling your way through a dark wonderland, and if you want to win the game, you'll have to embrace the chaos and find a way to tip the odds in your favor. From the Odd and Even minds of Zoink Games, here is Lost in Random.
Lost in Random.
So Lost in Random is being developed here at Zoink Games in Gothenburg, Sweden. We're about 80 developers with a few different projects, but Lost in Random is definitely our biggest and most ambitious project ever.
We're known for doing quite narrative-driven games. We really want to make games that speak to people and touch people and make people think.
Oh, l'influence n'est pas à chercher, c'est clairement.
Lost in Random is a 3D action-adventure game set in the gorgeous Gothic fairy tale world of Random. And it tells the tale of Even, a young girl who befriends Dicey, a living dice with incredible powers.
Even goes on this journey to rescue her sister from the clutches of a mad queen who's obsessed with board games.
And so the queen decreed that any child who had turned the age of 12 would be given the grand honor of rolling her one true dice to show them their place in the world of random, for random is fair, random prevails, and random rules. Random rules.
Even, she's this naive young kid who's just, for the first time, going out into the world to find out who she is.
It's really a story about the randomness of life and conquering the fear of it.
Donc il y a une reine qui est obsédée par les jeux de rôle, machin, tout ça.
A really fun duo. Even is this quick to anger, but she's not one to hold grudges, but she can easily get into a fight, and Dicey is there to hold her back. Dicey, who is this cute puppy kind of character, his moment to shine is when you're in combat. When Even rolls Dicey, he becomes this kind of Swiss army knife of magical power.
No, Dicey. They should be scared of us. Right?
We're really in love with this project. It's a great story, it's great actors, it's the innovative gameplay, and it just feels like everything is just so perfectly packaged together around the dice and this universe.
And the style of the game is kind of like something out of a Laika or Tim Burton movie. It's really everything we've dreamt of doing all these years. It's really great, and we can't wait for everybody to play it.
Tim Burton, quoi, un peu flippant. Flippant mais mignon en même temps.
In the interactive thriller, 12 minutes, you play as a man who becomes trapped in a time loop, replaying the same 12 minutes of one fateful evening in his apartment over and over again. Each time you're going to have the chance to make new choices, learn what led up to those terrible events, and perhaps even escape them. It's a story that's not just about how choices matter, but about how some stories can only truly be told when they can change, even just a little bit, every single time you retell them. It was a joy to participate in this project and lend my voice to the main character, and I hope you have as much fun playing it as I did making it. I am very proud to introduce a game where the end is only the beginning. 12 minutes.
You want to guess what it is?
Ah oui, je vois,
This is
c'est...
an outfit for a newborn. You bought it this morning. You wanted to surprise me.
12 minutes ou je
I'm
sais
sorry.
pas.
You're pregnant.
You
Où
know.
tu refais les
I know
mêmes...
because
Je sais plus combien de
you gave it to me.
minutes différents pour...
This has happened before.
What are you talking about? What's going on?
Someone is coming.
D'ailleurs, je sais pas.
He's going to hurt us. He says you killed your father. I need to know what happened.
Why are you doing this? My father
Died of a heart attack?
No, I didn't have anything to do with...
Any second now, he's gonna knock on that door. Help me.
This isn't happening. This can't be happening.
Police, open up.
My name is Luis. I'm the creator of 12 Minutes. I grew up watching a lot of film. They always captivated me, and I tried to understand what were they doing. The pacing, the colors, the lighting, the composition, in order to create these emotions in me. What are the tools we have as game designers that allow us to do similar things?
Parce que là, le pitch est intéressant,
The
l'idée
biggest
est
challenge is that
intéressante, faut
usually
voir
when we think
après...
about narrative, we think about a linear progression. And in an interactive game,
Ça rentrera dans le jeu.
at least in 12 minutes, that information can come at any moment depending on what you've done.
What's the occasion?
I'll tell you over dessert.
All right, I'm ready to get wowed by this dessert.
Just give me 1 second.
You know, I'm fascinated by the idea of if you knew what's going to happen, what would you do differently? 12 Minutes is an interactive thriller about a man trapped in a time loop. You come home from work, you're having a
Thriller
meeting with your wife,
interactive d'un
and
mec qui
this cop shows up,
coincé dans
accuses your wife
un
of
time
murder.
loop. Ouais.
Hands behind your back. Let's go.
You try to
Boucle
stop him,
temporelle.
you get beat up, only to wake up back to the start of the evening. And then you have to use the knowledge of what you know it's going to happen to try to change the outcome and break the loop.
Look, I know this sounds weird, but the day's repeating itself.
What do you mean, repeating itself?
I'm living the same chunk of time over and over again.
Uh-huh.
The reason the game sticks to a bird's eye view is because it allows you to very easily interact with the environment. Most video games, you have a third-person camera or a first-person camera, and I wanted to create something that is very accessible. So by doing a bird's eye view, you have like a floor plan of the apartment that you just click where to move. There was also the challenge of having the voices convey the emotions without seeing the faces. If someone is really stressed out, you won't have any facial expression, so you have to feel the stress in the throat.
Particularly because you don't see our faces in it, you really are projecting whatever you're feeling onto the character. There's no facial expressions that are instructing you. Where you go in the game will, I think, depend on you as an individual. I just need some time to myself. Come on, babe, please, stop it.
And if there's enough subtlety in the voice acting, in the movement, your brain will fill the rest. Because actors think in terms of motivations. You know, what's my motivation for this scene? And workshopping with them, figuring those things out, allows the characters to become alive and become meaningful in the way they behave.
Look, I didn't mean to. This is never what I wanted.
No, come on. I warned you.
Look, you can't do this. It will be different things for different people. There are so many versions of the story that will either reveal something or show something, and you as the player are revealing how you deal with truth, how you deal with other people's truth.
Working in interactive medium, you can make a story that becomes very personal, right? You're not passively looking at what's happening and processing. You're actually deciding. By allowing you to participate, to change it, to mold the way it's built, in a way it becomes part of you. It's like you're part of the creative process that is happening. And because the game doesn't really give you a direction, the decisions you make are based on who you are.
I'll prove it.
Yeah, great, let's see it. Wow me.
That allows you to explore a side of yourself that maybe you wouldn't otherwise.
Silently repeat these phrases. May you be free from suffering. May you be free from fear. May you know peace and joy.
If you're not familiar with the Big Con, a coming-of-age comedy adventure
du coup, je vais commencer à faire à manger.
Well, let me explain.
Ne inquiétez pas, j'arrive.
High school junior who learns that her mom is about to lose her video rental store to loan sharks unless they come up with over $90,000 ASAP. Well, there's clearly only one thing you can do. Run away from band camp, head to the mall, and become a con artist. I mean, that's just common sense. From the decade that gave us the World Wide Web and so much plaid, I give you the Big Con.
Hey, I'm Dave Proctor from Mighty Owl Studios, and I am the game director and writer on The Big Con. Mighty Owl is a company from Toronto. We're made up of some really awesome devs from this city. George Degenkamp, Saffron Aurora, Tabby Rose, Sakrina Diaz, and Yash Kulkarni is our core team. The Big Con is a adventure game where you hustle your way across 90s America as a teenage con artist. It's all for a good cause. You are trying to save your mom's video store. So you learn to pickpocket, wear disguises, talk your way into and out of trouble. All for that good, not so good cause of making sure your family business stays afloat. You know, one of the toughest things about making this game was selling people on the non-violent crime aspect of it. Games with guns don't bat an eye, but you know, the moment you have to steal an old lady's wallet, people start to think maybe there's something wrong with you, which is fine. That's part of the fun of making this. It really helps us make something that, you know, challenges people and challenges ourselves, and hopefully helps us find a little bit of in between in a story like this. Ultimately, Allie's doing crimes for a good cause, and you know, writing a funny and heartfelt story kind of helps justify those actions. So, you know, on the one hand, we get to make a game that we've never seen before, which is a con artist video game. And on the other hand, we get to kind of couch that in a conversation about small businesses surviving and, you know, a story about a mother and a daughter. And between that and the 90s, it really informed like what we were capable of coming up with in terms of this relationship. Like, who is Linda, Allie's mom, who raised her as a single mom and kept a business together, and what is that person like, and what is her daughter like? How do they play off? Allie can be, you know, she can be a teenager, she can be rough, she can be sarcastic. And this is something that we really wanted to see, and I think it brings a lot of truth to the game.
Ah, dans le jeu. Bon, et du coup, ça c'est quoi? Ah.
If it makes us laugh, it goes in the game. That was our rule. Like, we really want you to explore and find stuff.
Réaction, faut trouver des trucs qui est drôle.
Random conversations with people that, you know, some people might see, some people might not. It makes us happy knowing that it's in there.
Bon, en tout cas, c'est le stream, enfin c'est la conférence où ils nous montrent plein de jeux
really builds on the feeling of like building your own adventure.
Les uns des autres, très différents, ce qu'on a l'habitude de voir.
The 90s are just not, they're not as done in video games, but we wanted to do it. We wanted to get in there. The 90s are a time when you
jeu sur les années 90. Haha.
You don't have the ability to look this stuff up if you need to.
Ça c'est les années ça.
It makes it a little bit more believable that you can be a traveling con artist, which I think is part of the charm. And so, you know, with the 90s means that we also get to do this ripping, colorful palette that Saffron put together.
I watched a lot of cartoons growing up. Hey Arnold, Doug, and The Simpsons. They sort of set the foundation for this cartoon 90s aesthetic. Bright, contrasting colors, exaggerated features, and like fun geometric patterns. So Allie is a very does what she wants character. She wears her cap backwards. That to me was always the signature look of the cool leader type character that you'd see in a lot of cartoons. You know, she has the ripped jeans, the baggy t-shirt, and she also wears her plaid shirt wrapped around her waist, which is, you know, a very, I think, 90s style.
the references from
plus ça sur la chaîne, Pharrell. Plus la peine de
grunge or
ouais, c'est fini.
what movies were popular and like it
just, autre chose.
We don't want to beat you over the head with nostalgia, but we want to bring you there. We want you to be on this journey with us.
The Big Con is the 90s crime adventure you've been waiting for. What do you think, Rad Ghost? Okay.
I just want to finish off by saying thank you so much for the opportunity to be a part of this, and to be, you know, in the presence of such incredible games, and really just incredible international talent. It means a lot to a pretty stoked team from Toronto. So we hope to see you there, and we may try to steal the award anyways.
Ah, on peut essayer les démos sur le site qui était affiché. Pardon. Ah, merci Pharrell, mais vu ce que t'as dit avant, t'as peut-être des choses à rattraper alors, hein. Ok. Bon, attendez. Hop. Du coup, et l'autre, il commence à quelle heure? Commence à 21h. C'est quoi? C'est Core Prime Time Gaming. Core Prime Time Gaming. Plein de trucs, mais je sais pas si... Ouais, bon, j'aime pas forcément partir de là. Ah bah voilà, je dis de partir de celui-là, et bien sûr, ça déconne tout de suite. Mais du coup, bah, je vais couper là les gens, juste bah, l'histoire de faire à manger, tout ça, le temps que l'autre stream démarre. Je sais pas si on sera là tout de suite pour l'autre, vous verrez bien. Vous verrez bien si une annonce ou non, machin. Donc je vous retrouve peut-être après. Peut-être pas. Vous verrez bien. Ça dépend comment... Là, je vais déjà accueillir Louloutre et on va voir. Bah du coup, bon appétit à tous s'il y en a qui n'ont pas mangé tout ça, et si peut-être après. Sinon, je vous dis bonne soirée et à bientôt. Mais bon, vous verrez bien, mais je pense qu'on va peut-être partir sur cette idée de stream. À toutes les gens.